name is Christine Knavel, and I read The Effective Special Education Teacher. I chose this book because I wanted to read something that would be most beneficial for me in my field. Basically, the first chapter talks about the nature of public schools today and how they serve our special needs children. Also, it goes over some policies, professional and ethical standards for special education teachers. And then it discusses burnout. Burnout is common between nurses and social workers, but what I didn't know is that it's also commonly found in special education teachers. Some feelings associated with burnout include overwhelming sadness, inadequacy, and also feeling like you're not doing enough, even though you're doing all that you can. Some causes of this in special education teachers: one is the lack of special education teachers. Two, the amount of responsibilities that each teacher has. Three, lack of support from administration. Four, dealing with students who have behavior disorders, having large student caseloads, and also the immense amount of paperwork that a teacher has. Some good ways to alleviate the stress is exercising every day, keeping in good humor, scheduling some free time for yourself, and also requesting a mentor teacher. And sometimes in different school districts, they offer mentor teachers to first-year students just to help them get their foot in the door. They serve kind of as an aid and help manage classrooms and whatnot, so it can be very beneficial. One of the main reasons for the amount of paperwork that a special education teacher has are IEPs, which stands for Individualized Education Programs. This is where the teacher sets a number of goals for each student, and then there's a timeline, or a time frame where that student needs to reach that goal before the time is out. And it also has ongoing assessments and instruction. Also, there are two main settings that a special education teacher might find himself. One is working as a co-teacher in a general education classroom. That's usually involving inclusion. This is where a special education teacher will be only focusing on maybe one or two students with special needs. And then the other one is a self-contained classroom where all of the students will be special needs. However, both require consistent and regular lesson planning. Also, this book was helpful because it provided templates of everything. Like, I didn't know what was in an IEP, so it helped me kind of see what that consisted of. Unit plans, lesson plans, assessment plans, has everything in there. So I feel a little bit more knowledgeable about that. It also went over some good ways to have classroom management. For instance, you have to have a positive teacher attitude. You have to set ground rules, regulation, procedures on the first day of class, and you also have to motivate your students. Now for me, I'm going to be teaching pre-K and kindergarten students, so a lot of them won't be able to read. So it's important to have visuals with my rules. That way they kind of still know what the rules are, resorting to the pictures. Also, I'll take many things from this book. For instance, relating to behavior and stress. One of the greatest piece of advice I've ever heard was to ignore minor misbehavior and show obvious approval of good behavior. Because if you're always just yelling at that one student who is misbehaving, that tells that student, if I act up, she's going to pay attention to me. Whereas if you're just showing a lot of attention to those who are showing good behavior, students are going to start to realize that maybe if I do my best and try very hard, the teacher will pay attention to me, and that's what we want our students to believe. Also, it's important to keep in touch with parents. A lot of times parents are very busy. Sometimes they're single parents, sometimes they work 2 or 3 jobs, and they don't get a chance to speak to their kids very often. So doing something as little as writing notes in their assignment books can be beneficial. For instance, say I have a kid or a student who has a behavior disorder, and he has a great day. I want his mom or her parents to know. So what I would do is I would write something like, Cody was on his best behavior, he did very well during the reading lesson. This way, his parents can see that, and not only will he get positive reinforcement at school, but he'll also get positive reinforcement at home. one last thing, it's really important to remember that one bad experience can haunt a student for the rest of his school days, up until college. For instance, when I was in first grade, I was considered the problem child because I was very hyper and I liked to distract all the other students and make loud noises. And instead of the teacher trying to work with me, she just shoved me in a dark computer lab and gave me a bunch of worksheets to do. And that was my first grade, was being by myself in a dark room. So I never want to do that to anybody. I don't want to stereotype my kids, and I never want any of my kids to think that I don't like them. I want to be as kind and nurturing as possible because, not only because it will encourage them to succeed, but also because some of those students may not find that kind of love at home. Thank you.